Yeah, I was told, now here's the thing, there's multiple layers, right? Is you can't participate in gym class unless you change clothes. They mandate uniforms, right? So, like, one option was to go to, like, to change in, like, the bathroom, right, before going to gym class. This was an option presented to me, and I still refused, right? I was an edgy ass fucking teenager. I did not like authority. I was an edgelord teenager. I said fuck you to multiple teachers, right? I said no, right? So one of the options that was presented is that you can go to the bathroom and change, before actually getting to fucking gym class, right? So, but you need to change your clothes in some capacity. Why? I don't know. If I want to wear just generic sweatpants to school all day and get stinky in them, that should be my fucking freedom. I should be allowed to do that. But you're not in school, right? So in my case, like, they told me it was either, you sit there in the corner and we mark you as equivalent to skipping class. That's how it was told to me. I was skipping class. Even though I was there, right? I was skipping class, and I would not be allowed to participate in gym, right? So it's like, personally, that's a two birds with one stone. I don't want to get naked in front of a fucking freak show sweaty guy, and I also don't want to fucking go around and play laser tag. To me, that's a win-win. So I sat there in the corner of gym class, and I would read books all day. That was my thing. But I was an edgelord. That's the other thing. It's like, my gym teacher, that I had 3 times because I failed 9th grade gym 3 times. I got my high school days. I have a lot of stories. So I failed high school for a multitude of reasons. One of which, was because I had chronic health issues. And so I was just absent a lot anyway, right? So I failed every class because of attendance. So my opinion was I'm not gonna get uncomfortable in gym class if I know that this high school experience isn't going to end up I knew pretty much very early on, halfway through 9th grade, right? I knew that high school, I was not gonna make it to the end of high school. I was gonna drop out and get a GED. So I was just waiting until I hit the magical 16 years old for that to happen. But anyway, so so I told my gym teacher no. And then so I had the same gym teacher in 10th grade, but in 10th grade I did 9th grade. They made me do 9th grade gym and 10th grade gym in 10th grade. So what I would, and they were back to back. So what I would do is I would just sit there in the auditorium for an hour and a half and read books. And so I was just all the teachers knew that I'm the kid who doesn't give a fuck. And sometimes whenever the fun part was the substitute, right? Whenever the substitute would come and they would try to give me fucking an attitude, I would say, no, I'm not doing this. You can't make me get naked in front of you. I would use that language. I would use that language. I'm not getting naked in front of you, you weirdo. Leave me alone. I'm trying to read a book. One of the substitutes actually took a book away from me, because I would just read in school, and I would usually carry around in my backpack 2 to 3 books, then I'd cycle through them. And so one of my substitutes for gym took the book away from me and said, you're not even allowed to read. You have to sit there and watch everyone else have fun. As if to me, oh my God, watching them run in circles and play kickball is so much fun. And my punishment for not getting naked in front of a weird 60-year-old is that I have to watch other people have fun. So what I did was I just started reading another book because I had another one on me. And then she got really mad. It was just great. I mean, I was a fucking edgelord in high school, motherfucker. I did not give a shit. It's not even borderline, Sam. It was absolutely homoerotic sexual assault. No borderlines necessary. Yeah, the substitutes were always the weirdos. The main, you talk to your primary gym teacher a couple times, and they pretty much you know what, this kid's obviously not, I'm not going to expend any energy on this, right? So they learn pretty quickly. But whenever the substitutes would come in, the substitute gym teachers, one hell of a phenomenon, right? The substitute motherfucking gym teacher. Should I do this as a segment? Should we do high school stories with Andrea? Should this be a segment? Is this good enough? But anyway, the fucking high school substitute gym teacher, that's a special kind of crazy, right? Because these are the kind of motherfuckers that they're no longer they really love teaching gym class, right? They love it. yet they're not actively gym teachers. I wonder why. Like, you know, they've always, like, you love teaching gym so much. Why don't you actually get a job? Like, maybe something happened to them and they can only be a substitute now. That's a little weird. But these motherfuckers were crazy. Like, substitute teachers in general are pretty fucking crazy. But substitute gym teachers are insane. They are insane. So, again, I had them, like, take away my books. Sometimes, like, they sent me to the principal's office and, like, you know, I explained the whole story to them. And the principal was like, you know, well, yeah, I got detention a lot in high school, too. I think one of them was related to me, like, mouthing off to a substitute. I don't know if it was Jim. I don't remember if it was Jim, but I remember I was mouthing off to a substitute teacher, because I didn't feel like participating, in the class. I'm pretty sure it was Jim, but it might have been something else. And I got detention for it, and I didn't go to detention. And then I got extra detention for not going to detention, and I never went to the extra detention, and eventually nothing happened. So my presumption is that, like, whoever was doing detention, like, didn't care, and, like, was just, like, filling everyone in, and they just assumed that I'd gone. But I never went to detention. I got detention, like, 3 or 4 times in high school, and I went to 0 of those detentions. I don't know how substitute teachers work. That's true. My only understanding of substitute teachers are from watching King of the Hill. But anyway, so, like, substitute gym teachers, man, those motherfuckers were crazy. Because, like, every time I would have a substitute gym teacher, I would tell them, I'm not getting naked in front of you. Nothing you can say or do would allow that to happen. So one time we had, like, a substitute, like, it was like a week or 2 or something happened to the primary teacher. And this substitute literally, like, instead of, like, letting me just, like, chill in the auditorium where the gym class was, like, the whole time, this substitute's idea of punishing me was to make me stand in the locker room as everyone else was getting naked. Like, that was their punishment, is I had to go into the locker room and watch everyone get naked. That was my punishment for not participating in gym class. Like, what? like hello? Like, that's fucking weird. That's strange. That's really bizarre stuff. So I don't know about y'all. I don't know about everywhere else. But in New Jersey, right, approximately 10 years ago, there were some really interesting substitute teachers and gym teachers. Like, it's bizarre. It's strange. These motherfuckers are strange. And honestly, I really do genuinely think they should all be in jail. I really do. How can you have mandatory education but also kick? My whole thing with high school was I had a bunch of chronic illnesses that I talk about a decent chunk because... especially when I go on the fiber tangents. But you know, when I was younger, my chronic health issues were, like, really bad. So I would just I wouldn't be able to go to school, like, half the time. And so my school, like, I would get doctor's notes, right? You know, but my school just didn't believe them. I don't really know. I remember they told me that doctor's notes aren't valid anymore. Like, that, like, for whatever reason, they decided that doctor's notes aren't valid. So I failed everything in 9th grade over attendance. Like, I scored, like, you know, 70, 80 points, at least. Because another thing is, in school, I didn't do homework. I just refused. Like, the concept of doing homework to me, I just refused. Like, I'm in school long enough already. Sometimes I would do the homework during school, right? Like, during lunch or whatever, or maybe during gym class, I'd just do the homework. But sometimes I wouldn't. Like, I just wouldn't. So I would just, like, I'm not doing... My policy was, if I don't get it finished at school, I'm not doing it at home. I refuse. There's a 0% chance. I never did homework at home. I refuse. It's just, on a principle, I'm not going to do it. And so... you know, so I usually got 70 to 80 points and things, unless, like, you know, like, some classes that I was just, you know, pretty good at because I was reading books about, like, science. I passed, like, my science classes with over 100 points and failed because of attendance. So that's pretty crazy. But anyway, so they didn't believe my doctor's notes were real, or they just didn't care. And it was like, you know, since then, I'm pretty sure that that's not legal. Like, I'm pretty sure that they fucked me over. I'm pretty sure that was illegal and that I should have had, like, other options available. But I was a dumb kid, and I was pretty much like, I'm just going to drop out as soon as I'm eligible to do so, which was when I was 16. And so I dropped out and got a GED. That's my high school story. #. We started talking about this because of fucking creepy gym teachers, but There's high school stories with Andrea. There you go, folks. Make that a segment. What did I do at home? I played video games. I tried community college. That's a whole different story. That's a whole different story. I tried community college. It's not for me. It's just not for me. It's just not for me. Like, my first experience with community college was in order to do anything, there was like the mandatory courses, and one of them was economics, and I was like, oh, I would love to learn about economics. That sounds fun. I like math, so I'll just learn about economics. And then this was in 2016 when I did community college. My economics teacher started class with this big tangent about how Bernie Sanders is destroying America, and if anyone in the class believes that Bernie Sanders knows anything about the economy, and that he thought that Bernie Sanders was the second coming of Lucifer and was going to destroy the whole world, right? And I instantly that was my first experience, and I was instantly I do not respect this person at all. I do not think that this person has anything to teach me. I was instantly zoned out. I was zoned out instantly. I was instantly turned off. I was there's nothing I can learn. So I tried reading the book a little bit, and I was I already know all this. And it was basically just trauma, because it was a repeat of high school, where it's I already knew everything. And I was just uncomfortable being in this social environment, right? And so I took a couple of other classes, like sociology, which is, I read the book ahead. I was interested in sociology, right? So I was just I'll just read the textbook. So I just read the textbook and attended the first month of classes. And then every single class I would take was just shit that I already understood from reading the textbook. And so I was just this isn't for me. This isn't for me. So I dropped out of community college. That's not for me. It's just, school isn't for me. I don't mind having a teacher. If it's a one-on-one teaching thing, if I'm a pupil and someone's my mentor for something, that's a different kind of relationship. But having to be in a classroom with other people, and just having to deal with the fact that every single time I'm in a classroom with other people, I'm either the furthest ahead or one of the furthest ahead. It's just, it's a waste of time. If it's one thing, if it's a Zoom class, maybe I would enjoy Zoom classes. I don't know, because then I could do other things, right? But it's the idea for me is having to actually go physically, because it's not just I have to waste an hour in a class, right? I have to take a bus. I'd have to take the train. It's a fucking 2-hour commute, an hour to get there, an hour to get back. And then it's just such a waste of my fucking time. It's such a waste of my fucking time. And it was when I went to community college, because I was not really into it at all, but I wanted to do it to make a family member happy. And I instantly had PTSD with my high school experience. And I was I'm not doing this. I refuse. It's not happening. And then the homework was so fucking stupid. I just the whole, I hate school. I don't like school. I'm not a school person. Matt Strackbone, I'm late, having a terrible day, and realize how much I enjoy the show and chat. Matt, you will love the intro for today. People did not like it, and that means I know you would like it. So I've been doing a lot of experimentation. But yeah, we're just having a little bit of a chat segment. I got 2 more clips I want to show for today, but I'm milking this chat segment while we got it. Yeah, this is why, for those of you that follow me, this is why I'm so anti-school. I'm one of those kinds of anarchists that hate school. Now, again, I want school to be better. I wish we had a school system in this country that worked, right? But as it is right now, the school system that currently exists is horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible. I had extremely traumatic school stories. I haven't even gotten into elementary school. Elementary school was pretty rough too, but high school was fun for me, because high school was kind of where I was becoming my own person. So I was I never stood up for the pledge in high school. That was my first big statement, because I was an atheist. So it wasn't that I hated America per se, but I hated that God was a part of the pledge. So I didn't stand up for the pledge, and that was a fun one. Oh my God, that was so good. But high school was kind of fun because I like had enough autonomy and like kind of like identity to be able to like make it a little enjoyable. I would like, make fun of teachers, and I would like do that whole thing. I would make fun of other people. But elementary school was just straight traumatic, right? Because I'm just like an autistic kid that has no friends. And so it was like I would just get bullied and I didn't know what to do. And it was just horrible. And there was no upside to elementary school at all. Stop stealing my origin story. Technically, you did do it first, right? Because you're older than me, so. I still have nightmares about being in school, and there's some class I've been cutting, but I have to get to the final, but I don't even know where the classroom is. That's a classic. Yeah, that's a classic. See, for me, like, by the time I got to high school, like, I was already pretty much, like, again, I have chronic health issues that plagued my entire scholastic, because that was another thing. Like, I barely was able to go to school, so I was always the weird kid who would never, like, show up half the time. So for me, that was that made me a ripe target to get like mocked and harassed, right? So by the time I went to high school, like I was just like, you know what? I'm not gonna finish high school, so I'm just gonna enjoy it while I can. I'm gonna enjoy the fun parts. I'm gonna be my own person, and I'm not gonna take any bullshit. But in that, I did take bullshit because technically, I mean, I should have had a diploma, but I don't know. One of these days, I'm gonna like do a huge deep dive into like that whole thing, capital T, capital H, W, that whole thing. Yes, those are capitalized. I thought I was too weak. Yeah, I mean, I got bullied for being too weak. I got into a fight ish. It was like a proto fight. Where a fight breaks out, but then it gets stopped before like the fight actually has a determined end. But like it was like one of the first like weeks of high school. I think it was like the first week of high school, one of them. And I didn't stand up for the pledge, and I was reading a book, because that's what I would do. I would just ignore school and just sit there and read a book the whole time. And so someone like got really mad at me because I wasn't respecting the flag or something. Like that was like, imagine like trying to fight someone because they don't love America. Like that's the kind of bullshit that. So someone like tossed my book like out of my hands or whatever, and then like threatened to fight me. So I just like got up and like pushed them to the ground, and then they got up, and then it was like we almost got into like a fight scenario, but then the teacher stepped in, unfortunately. But they didn't really. Like I guess like rumors spread that I was like weird and like could beat the shit out of someone because I didn't I didn't care. Yep, but I got into a fight over the flag. That's crazy. I had some kids try and bully me, but in middle school I beat the piss out of the kid trying to do it. In high school I outsmarted everyone who tried to take shots and embarrass them. Yeah, I mean it's pretty classic, Catherine. We got a very similar story. That's pretty funny. It's pretty good. All right, folks. Hopefully the high school stories and community college stories with Andrea segment has been fun. Let's get into some more news.